Welcome everyone. Today is May 30th, 2018, Wednesday, in the middle of, the middle of spring right now. It seems like in the recent days, we've had record high temperatures. Really crazy around here. We've been up around 95, record high temperature Saturday, record high temperature Sunday, and record high on Monday. 3 record high temperatures on Memorial Day. So I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day, however you celebrated or just reflected. It's important for us to do that, and I think people are just kind of getting back into another mode right now. And things are just going crazy around here. It's like they pushed a button, and man, every truck and every Caterpillar and every bulldozer and every developer and construction and all these big trucks everywhere just flew out and just took over the roads and took over traffic, and it's a just jangled mess out there. So people, please slow down. We're not in any hurry, and coming over here, it seemed like not anybody wasn't in a hurry. It was just crazy speed. So speed kills, you know. And it ain't just the kind you ingest and put in your body and in your system. When you're behind the car, that speed kills too. So let's slow it down, people, so we can all have a decent chance to live. And if you don't know, check out the situation and you'll find out real soon. Because we want everybody to be around here. So slow down. Today, we're going to talk about notes from the Underground, Iowa City Underground. And this is being broadcast from the Public Access TV, PATV Underground, Channel 18, Iowa City. And if you want to check the Underground, come on down to the PATV Underground and check out what's going on down here. There's amazing art all over the beautiful foyer and lobby. There's a kindness wall outside, a blue wall. It says kindness wall. And there's items there that you can, clothing and so forth, that you can take. And you take what you need and you leave the rest, and you also give. So you can bring some clothing down here, or some really precious items that are good that you want to share with the community. And come on down to the kindness wall, where it's loving kindness, and you give, you just put it on the table out in front of PATV here at Underground TV, just below Uptown Bill's on South Dubuque Street, just down past the tracks. I don't know, it's like 800 South Dubuque. And come on down and check this scene out. There's something happening here, and you don't know what it is, do you, Mr. Jones? You just don't know what it is, but there's something happening in here. It's organic, and it's growing. It's a beautiful thing. Art is happening. Tremendous art in the lobby and in the studio. Magic is happening here, and kindness, this compassion for our fellow humans is happening as well. With giveaways are happening here, with clothing and different items that people might need, as well as just loving kindness. So come on down to this blue wall called the Kindness Wall and join in, jump in. It's a great swim in this blue wall of kindness. So jump on into this blue wall down here at PATV Underground, and you will swim just fine, because there's a lot of kind people around here, and enjoy the journey, because each one of us is a part of the journey, and that journey is through loving kindness, and it's being experienced, expressed, and flowing out like a river down here at the PATV. So there's a big shout out to everybody to come on down here to PATV. Drop in a few bucks. We have a fundraiser. We want to raise some fundraiser for PATV, raise some bucks, and shine it on to this entire community to find out what you really can be and what you really can do. This is just for you, people, just for you, and you want to get on down here and check it out, because this is the real deal. Yep, if you want to look for a real deal, this is happening right down here. So come on down and check it out, and give what you can, and take what you need, and leave the rest. So with that, we celebrate the creation of the blue wall down here, the blue wall of loving kindness. I just am really moved by the graciousness and the artists and everyone involved, PATV and Uptown Bills and other people. So this is Notes from the Underground, Iowa City Underground. We got to take care of each other along this lost highway. Think outside the bucks, not the box. Think outside the bucks, the dollars. Think outside the bucks that drive folks crazy, the bucks that create speed and violence and throw up buildings of insanity and just because of greed. And the business contractor jocks that'll cut you off and chop you in half in the name of a demon seed called speed, who'll trounce you and shut down your neighborhood and ice pick you at the stoplight. Just cut your nose off just to jump in front of you so he can race to the stoplight 20 feet ahead. This is the dynamic of a culture dead on speed. Just a different form of crack amphetamine, and it's a daily drug fix called gasoline ethanol. The ethanolholics, right? Alcoholics, well, we got ethanolholics, gasoline, unsafe at any speed. And this greed is a pandemic intravenous infusion of confusion. Every day on the highway of congestion. This speed affects all aspects of daily life. Its addiction is hyperbolic and exponential in its carcinomic effect. The carcinoma endemic in cars is now pandemic. Its daimon is greed. Its drug of delivery is speed. And no planet weatherman can predict the outcome of this. Straight into the abyss. Time to think outside the bucks. From this planet weather underground, and that's why we got to take care of each other. And that's why we got to take care of each other out here along this lost highway. But you need a lost highway to be found, dear friend, to empty the slate, to create a new tabula rasa, to create some new sanity. And the times they ain't been a-changin'. And the times they ain't have been a-changin' for a long time, till the weather vane is at a standstill. And the weatherman is given a forecast from this Iowa City Underground. And the weatherman is given a forecast from this Iowa City Underground. And the subterraneans and the Dharma bums are sitting here in this Sangha, learning a new Dharma. In this Shambhala full moon tonight, there's a full moon tonight, a Shambhala full moon of love and light. The Easter promise of Jesus, the peace of Pentecost on the Pentecrest, the Wesak full moon of Buddha light, the harmonic convergence of Jesus love and Buddha light on the third eye night full moon of the vernal equinox, triadic note structure of love and light. In this late May crown of creation, and this is all filtering through a love light of etheric delight, which stuns the whole field of the planetary commons. And the Iowa City Underground picks it up now, and the Iowa City Underground picks it up now, along the blue flowering wall of PATV Underground. This is where clothing is shared for free, and other necessities and other goods and non-necessities. This is where we begin again, to think outside the bucks. Why? Because you can, dear friend. You can think outside the bucks, my dear friends. And it ain't free and easy, and it ain't heavy, because he's my brother. And somehow there begins to be seen a little joy of the journey. And you hear a guitar lick or two wafting in and through this underground. And we've lost others along the way. And this is Memorial Day week. And we have lost others along the way. So let us take a moment to reflect on others who we've lost along the way and send them a requiescat in pace. May the perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in eternal peace. We say it again from our heart. May the perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in eternal peace. Requiescat in pace. Requiescat in pace. May the perpetual light shine upon them. May they rest in eternal peace. And these others we've lost along the way, along this lost highway, and we remember and we reflect upon them on this Memorial Day week. And yet the highwaymen still play. They play songs that fill you to the marrow. And yet the highwaymen still play. They play songs that fill you to the marrow and keep your bucket full. And an 80-pound maul, a huge sledgehammer, comes slamming down on the local mall. And the weatherman tells one and all, the harder they come, the harder they fall, one and all. The Weyerhaeuser Planetary Axeman, Paul Bunyan, Attila the Stockbroker, and Bluto Bulldozer, and the Bluto the Bulldozer tries to roll on. The real estate construction developer jack, whose creative destruction causes his own combustion as he goes up in flames, exhumed in the fumes of his own greed confusion, and his own shithouse goes up in flames, with only himself to blame. And the journey down low brings us below into the Kiva. And the journey down low brings us below into the Kiva, for Kachina twins insight mind. And the Sipapu leads below to the worlds before this time. And the Sipapu above leads up through and into the skylight of intuition and wisdom. And this whole thing shines through translucence in openness mind. Notes of a third eye kind, dear friend. Notes of a third eye kind. And we are beginning to think outside the box, because the Bucks stopped yesterday, pleading nolo contendere to their ability to be in play. They're all pooped out in their globalization overreach, a bank, a skyscraper, a loan, too far. And these are notes from the Iowa City Underground in these American states, not written for DC, District of Columbia, shit for brains, written on the subterranean walls for the eyes of the future, wonderkin looking in, the seventh generation yet to come. These are notes beyond the prophets, caused by thinking outside the box, written in kind by Ruckus and all his Luddite berserker kin. Hoka hey, hey Jung, aho. So this is notes from the underground, from the Iowa City Underground. They apply to the entire underground of this entire continent, planet of these American states. Call it Turtle Island, El Norte. Depends on what kind of look you have. Turtle Island is preferable. El Norte is kind of like the N-word. The N-word is El Norte. So let's look for a little bit of kindness and a little bit of human rights, a little bit of compassion right now, because things are spinning off the wheel according to the pinwheels and the pinheads in DC. But we shall see, shall we? See? We shall see, shall we? We shall see. And these are notes from the underground to the third eye kind, the living kindness within each one of our hearts. We develop a compassionate heart. We begin to begin again. And that is, dear friend, that is joy for the journey. That's to do the best we can. When we do the best we can, we're already on the right path. We have a beginner's mind. Just by saying, to do the best we can. That could come from your grandfather. That could come from your son. Could come from a little kid. Could come from your mom. Could come from your aunt, an uncle, somebody who was a mentor, who was loving, kind to you. To do the best we can, coming from a friend. A good pat on the back, a hug, a tear of joy, even a tear of sorrow, sadness, when is necessary. Tears are a form of prayer. They wash our spirit clean. It's important from time to time. You hear a tune. I heard a tune. I heard two tunes. One tune was Sweet Judy Blue Eyes by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. That made me cry. The tears of Sweet Judy Blue Eyes went into my eyes. It washed my heart, washed my spirit clean. Another was a film that was being shot down in, was being made down in Selma, Alabama, at one of the plantations down there. And it was right in the heart of the civil rights movement. And it was 1967 in Selma, Alabama. And this film on location was in Selma, called The Heart is the Lonely Hunter. That too will touch your heart. Put tears in your eyes. Those tears are good tears because they're forms of prayer. They wash your spirit clean. It's okay to wash our spirits clean. It's okay to have beauty in our being. We breathe that in. We breathe in the beauty of our being to wash our spirits clean. That's a beginning. That's a beginner's mind. Could come from Native American, could come from African American, could come from Hispanic American, could come from European American, could come from anywhere on this planet. Tibet, Yoruba, Guatemala, Finland, the Arctic Circle, Tierra del Fuego, Aotearoa, New Zealand, the Outback, Uluru, Australia. It could come from Oceania, Polynesia, could come from Kamchatka, could come from Ainu, could come from Amchitka, could come from the Kenai Fjords. Wherever it comes from, it's the beginner's mind, dear friend. The beginner's mind is truly the planetary mind. With that spirit, we slow things down. We're going to slow it down here. We leave the world behind. Let the world take care of itself. Let the world take care of itself. We're going to climb inside of ourselves and let the world take care of itself for a little while here. For the golden eternity of this hour that we have to share, which is a very special, sacred gift, dear friends. And we're going to slow it down and allow for the deeper ecology, the deeper presence of our being to come out and be present. And in this presence, we begin to breathe again, once again. Breathing in love, breathing out peace. Breathing in peace, breathing out love. Breathing in love, breathing out peace. Breathing in peace, breathing out love. Breathing in love, breathing out peace. But the joy of the journey is gentle, and as the loving kindness that is the joy of the journey. It's gradual in its unfolding, slow unfolding of this golden eternity, of this hour, this golden flowing eternity of this hour, journey within. We shall return again with beginner's mind now. Now that we have the notes from the Iowa City Underground fairly established and stationed in some place in our awareness, in our brains, in our mind, we shall re-enter the notes of the Iowa City Underground, this time from the slow golden unfolding of this hour within the flower power that is present, and re-enter with our hearts notes from the Iowa City Underground. We got to take care of each other along this lost highway. Think outside the bucks, B-U-C-K-S. Think outside the bucks that drive folks crazy, the bucks that create speed and violence and throw up buildings of insanity just because of greed. Just because of greed. And the business contractor jocks that'll cut you off and chop you in half in the name of the demon seed of speed, who will trounce you and shut down your neighborhood and ice pick you at the stoplight, cut your nose off to jump in front of you, to get in front of you in the same lane so he can race to the stop sign just 20 feet ahead. This is the dynamic of a culture dead on speed. This is the dynamic of a culture dead on speed. Just a different form of crack amphetamine, and it's a daily drug fix called gasoline. Ethanol, gasoline. Unsafe at any speed. And this greed is a pandemic. Intravenous infusion of confusion every day on the highway of congestion. This is just a different form of crack amphetamine, and it's a daily drug fix called gasoline, ethanol, unsafe at any speed. And this greed is a pandemic, intravenous infusion of confusion every day on the highway of congestion. This speed affects all aspects of our daily life. This speed affects all aspects of our daily life, and its addiction is hyperbolic, with a hypodermic right into our gas tank, and exponential in its carcinoma effect. The carcinoma endemic in cars. This carcinoma is endemic in cars and is now pandemic. Its daimon is greed. Its drug of delivery is speed. Its drug of delivery is speed. And no planet weatherman can predict the outcome of this. And no planet weatherman can predict the outcome of this. Straight into the abyss. Time to think outside the box. Time to think outside the box. From this planet weather underground, from this planet weather underground, that's why we got to take care of each other out here along this lost highway. Time to think outside the box. From this planet weather underground, that's why we got to take care of each other out here along this lost highway. But you need a lost highway to be found. You need a lost highway to be found. To empty the slate. To empty the slate. To create a new tabula rasa. To create a new tabula rasa. To create some new sanity. And the times, they ain't a-been a-changin'. And the times, they ain't a-been a-changin' for a long time. Till the weather vane is at a standstill. Till the weather vane is at a standstill. And the weatherman is given a forecast from this Iowa City underground. And the weatherman is giving a forecast from this Iowa City underground. And the subterraneans and the Dharma bums are sitting here in this Sangha at this blue kindness wall, learning a new Dharma in this Shambhala full moon of love and light. And this Shambhala moon, which is the full moon, is tonight, dear friends, the 30th of May. And in this Shambhala, and in this Shambhala full moon of love and light, the Easter promise of Jesus, the peace of Pentecost on the Pentecrest, the Wesak full moon of Buddha light, the harmonic convergence of Jesus' love and Buddha light on the third eye night full moon of the vernal equinox, this triadic note structure of golden light, of love and light, in late May, crown of creation, in late May, crown of creation. And this is all filtering through a love light of etheric delight. And this is all filtering through a love light of etheric delight, which stuns the whole field of the planetary commons, which stuns and floods the whole field of the planetary commons. And the Iowa City Underground picks it up now along the blue flowering wall of kindness of PATV Underground. This is where clothing is shared for free, and other necessities, and other goods and non-necessities. This is where we begin again. This is where we begin again. To think outside the box. To think outside the box. Why? Because we can, dear friend. Why? Because you can, dear friend. Why? Because I can, dear friend. Why? Because we can, dear friend. And it ain't free and easy, and it ain't heavy, 'cause he's my brother. And it ain't free and easy, and it ain't heavy, 'cause he's my brother. And it ain't free and easy, and it ain't heavy, because he's my brother. And somehow there begins to be seen a little joy of the journey. And somehow there begins to be seen, breathing in now, breathing in, breathing in. And somehow there begins to be seen, breathing it in, breathing it in, breathing it in. And somehow there begins to be seen a little joy of the journey. And you hear a guitar lick or two, and you hear a guitar lick or two wafting in and through this underground. And you hear a guitar lick or two wafting in and through this underground. And we've lost others, dear friend. And we've lost others, dear friend, during this reflection, this Memorial Reflection Week. And we've lost others along the way, along this Reflection Memorial Week. And we've lost others along the way, along this lost highway. And yet, the highwaymen still play. And yet, the highwaymen still play. They play songs that fill you to the marrow. They play songs that fill you to the marrow and keep your bucket full. And an 80-pound maul, a huge sledgehammer, comes slamming down on the local mall. And the weatherman tells one and all, the harder they come, the harder they fall, one and all. The Weyerhaeuser planetary axeman, Paul Bunyan, Attila the stockbroker, and the Bluto bulldozer, tries to roll on. And the Bluto caterpillar bulldozer tries to roll on in the Gaza Strip. And the spirit of Rachel Corrie says, no, not one step further, no compromise in defense of Mother Earth. And the Bluto bulldozer tries to roll on, the caterpillar, destructor, raper, plunderer. The real estate construction developer jock whose creative destruction causes his own combustion as he goes up in flames, exhumed in the fumes of his own greed confusion, and his own shithouse goes up in flames with only himself to blame. And the weatherman tells one and all, the harder they come, the harder they fall, one and all. The Weyerhaeuser planetary axeman, Paul Bunyan, Attila the stockbroker, and the Bluto bulldozer caterpillar tries to roll on. And the depths of the death of denial, the denial of his own death. The real estate construction developer jock whose creative destruction, terms of creative destruction, causes his own combustion as he goes up in flames, exhumed in the fumes of his own greed confusion, and his own shithouse goes up in flames with only himself to blame, and the journey down low brings us below. And the journey down low brings us below. Yes? And the journey down low brings us below into the kiva. into the Kiva for Kachina twins insight mind, and the Sipapu leads below to the worlds before this time. And the journey down low brings us below into the Kiva for Kachina twins insight mind, and the Sipapu leads below to the worlds before this time. And the Sipapu above leads up through and into the skylight of intuition, of transmission of the water bearer. And this whole thing shines through lucence, and this whole thing shines through translucence into openness mind. And this whole thing shines through translucence into openness mind. Notes of a third eye kind. Notes of a third eye kind. And we are beginning to think outside the box. And we are beginning to think outside the box. And we are beginning to think outside the box. Because the buck stopped yesterday, pleading nolo contendere to their ability to be in play. They're all pooped out in their globalization overreach. A bank, a skyscraper, a student tenement, 7-story high-rise, greed machine, alone too far. A bank, a skyscraper, alone too far. And these here are notes from the Iowa City Underground. And these here are notes from the Iowa City Underground in these American states. Not written for DC, shit for brains. These are written on the subterranean walls for the eyes of the future. Wonderkin looking in, the 7th generation yet to come. These are notes beyond the prophets caused by thinking outside the box. And we are beginning to think outside the box. Because the buck stopped yesterday, pleading nolo contendere to their ability to be in play. They're all pooped out in their globalization overreach. A bank, a skyscraper, alone too far. And these here are notes from the Iowa City Underground. In these American states, not written for DC, shit for brains. These are written on the subterranean walls for the eyes of the future. The subterranean walls of kindness, the blue wall of kindness in the subterranean walls in the underground Iowa City. Notes. These are written on the subterranean walls for the eyes of the future. Wonderkin looking in, the 7th generation yet to come. These are notes beyond the prophets, caused by thinking outside the box. These are written in kind by Ruckus and all his Luddite and Berserker kin. Hoka hey, the Heshgays, Hoka hey, it's a good day to die. Hey, Jung, aho. So we've traveled and traversed slowly in a meandering, long, winding way in this maze of this eco-poetics called Notes from the Iowa City Underground. It's caused us to take a journey inside our heart, to reflect on, to climb inside ourselves and let the world take care of itself. For we too have a voice. The lions are running right alongside of us, whether we see them or not. And we wonder where the lions are. And we wonder where the lions are. And we wonder where the lions are. And the lions are running right alongside us. And they're right here on the hills of mourning. And this is the reflection week of Memorial Week. Time to reflect of others we've lost along the way, along the lost highway. It's best to be along the lost highway, dear friend. So with that, we're going to have a letter to other moons. Being that this is a full moon, we mentioned that the Jesus full moon and the Buddha full moon of love and light will be in harmonic convergence on this third vernal equinox full moon tonight. To receive love and light, just be open. Open your window of your skylight mind, dear friend, and breathe in the love of the journey. Letter to other moons. Dear distant sisters, hello from this Earth orbit. I am sending this message for solace. The tides are heavier now. Is it the sun or our own sins that weight us down? My blue planet turns crimson, but now with sunrise, is yours at war? Is yours in the spin of despair? Are you worshipped, feared, reverenced, reviled? Some brand me madness as animals, including humans, howl at my fullness. Others call me woman's curse, blame for monthly blood. But some see who I am, keeper of time out of time, the shadow cycle, gentle mirror who tames the sun's glare. I am alone here in my task, lonely and only child. So I reach out to you who share your planet, with one or many or too many to count. You are my Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, my Saturn sisters. Whether the world you circle is made of dust or water, gemstone, lava, or ice, what is it that drew you there? Are you thinking of leaving? Wandering in the way of comets? Why do you love it, the spinning sphere you circle, with its endless varieties of life? Answer me soon. Each 28 days I give my heart away and reclaim it. Help me restore my faithfulness. Truly and gratefully yours, La Luna, in service to the third planet from the sun. A letter to other moons. And this is a letter from the Earth's moon. And you could say the moon's Earth. Beautiful. This is looking into a blueberry sky from a lavender moon. Looking into blueberry sky from a lavender moon. And this is a letter to other moons. And we're about ready to move into June. So we gather. We gather. The red tent is a temple. It is some time when we have no time. And this is Hecate's red tent we are in, dear friend. We are in Hecate's red tent. The red tent is a temple. It is some time when we have no time. Time to sit, be still, be with it, be with each and other and self. Be with each and other and self. A time out of time to step out and step in. This is the full moon tonight again. Moon Mother, in my dreams the women are drumming. Their waters are rising, making prayers of their bodies. They dance as if swimming under the moon mother's spell. In my dreams, the women are drumming. Their waters are rising, making prayers of their bodies. They dance as if swimming under the moon mother's spell. And in that particular note, every full moon, Estelle, now 85, shuffles to the backyard, throws back her head and shoulders and opens her throat and howls and sways, opening a channel on moonbeams to Diane, the moon goddess, her ever-present moon goddess, now visible, her love and loss made audible. Ah, howling at the moon, harmony. Every full moon, Estelle, now 85, shuffles to the backyard, throws back her head and shoulders and opens her throat and howls and sways, opening a channel on moonbeams to Diana, her ever-present moon goddess, now visible, her love and loss made audible. Aho. And in the process, we've gone through Beltane and celebrated the power of Beltane. And 6 months from this full moon will be the full moon of Sagittarius in November. So there's a 6-month wheel of the water wheel. And in the water wheel, there's a deeper part of our consciousness. And Novenata, which is the Carmelite order of mystics from the 13th century Spain, Saint Teresa of Avila, who wrote The Dark Night of the Soul, speaks of the prayer of quiet, which is the water wheel, especially at full moon. At unpredictable times, one experiences the second way of watering the garden, that is, our prayer garden, by means of a water wheel. Teresa of Avila envisions a hand crank turning the wheel, which feeds water into an aqueduct that carries the water to the garden. Here, she says, there is much less effort, and far more water is produced. The prayer of quiet is characterized by what Teresa calls passive recollection. The prayer of quiet is characterized by what Teresa calls passive recollection, which is a first taste of contemplative experience. Passive recollection. Now, instead of working and concentrating, the faculties are recollected within the soul, so that its delight may be even greater. This glimpse of contemplative experience brings a different kind of consolation, which Teresa calls gustos, G-U-S-T-O-S. Teresa explains that the contentos, C-O-N-T-E-N-T-O-S, of meditation arise in human nature and are directed toward God, while the gustos of contemplation arise in God, but human nature feels and enjoys them. Thus, the gustos of contemplation are God's own delight, overflowing into the person's senses. These feelings have a supernatural quality, a hint of ultimate satisfaction. The soul is now rising above its miseries, according to Teresa says, and is receiving a taste of the delights of glory. This quietness and recollection makes itself clearly felt through the satisfaction and peace which it brings to the soul, together with a very great calm, joy, and sweet delight in the faculties. This quietness and recollection makes itself clearly felt through the satisfaction and peace which it brings to the soul, together with a very great calm, joy, and sweet delight in the faculties. As blissful as the gustos of contemplation may be, the shift away from meditation is usually confusing and often experienced as unpleasant. In fact, the prayer quiet is frequently preceded by a profound absence of contentos. If one looks for prayer experiences of the dark night of the soul in Teresa's writing, they begin here, of the turning of the water wheel, as meditation eases as if to make room for the prayer quiet to happen on its own. In this place, she says, one may experience nothing but dryness, dislike, and distaste. The transition is dark, obscure. The person does not understand what is happening. When the Lord begins to grant these favors, when the Lord begins to grant these favors, the soul itself does not understand them or know what it ought to do, and its trial may be heavy. She says she herself, the soul, the spouse, endured these trials for many years, during which time she was grateful to get even one drop of water from this blessed well. No one, Teresa says, can predict when or how the moments of passive recollection and their consoling gustos will happen. Only God knows. It is not a question of our will. It happens only when God is pleased to grant it. However much we practice meditation, no matter how we force ourselves and no matter how many tears we shed, we cannot produce this water. It is given only to whom God wills to give it, and often when the soul is not thinking of it at all. Teresa cautions people not to try to hurry things up by stilling the mind to create a contrived state of recollection. Such attempts are likely to backfire. To keep the soul's faculties busy and at the same time keep them quiet is foolish. The very effort the soul makes to try to stop thinking may awaken thought and cause it to think a great deal. Teresa foresees the natural question of her readers, and many will have. But how, you will ask, are we to gain these favors if we do not strive for them? Her response is unequivocal. Relinquish all attempts to achieve more advanced states of prayer. That's it. Relinquish all attempts to achieve more advanced states of prayer. We should not try to lift up our spirits until they are lifted up by the Lord. Instead, she says, we should stay with our simple labor of love. The important thing is not to think much, but to love much. That's way cool. The important thing is not to think much, but to love much. Therefore, do whatever most arouses us to love. Do whatever most arouses us to love. When the prayer of quiet and passive recollection do happen, the experience is so sweet, the gustos is so delicate, that one wants to remain completely still. It feels as though the slightest movement of mind or body will destroy the experience. Teresa uses two scripture passages to describe how it feels. Referring to the account of the Transfiguration, she says the soul feels it has seen the ultimate glory and wants to build its dwelling there. And she refers to Mary and Martha, saying, the soul enjoys the holy idleness of Mary, the stream of springs and the sleep of the faculties. The precious sense of delicacy that characterizes the prayer of quiet seems to relax in the third way of watering the garden, in which the water flows from a nearby stream or spring. God now seems to be doing practically everything regarding prayer. And one no longer clings so much to stillness. Teresa says this allows a person to be both Mary and Martha at the same time. There's a feeling of being in the world but not of it. People go about their normal activities, reading, writing, engaging in works of charity and affairs of business. All the while, however, there is a certainty that one's best part is elsewhere. Attention is open and unfocused. Yet one is very responsive to the needs of whatever situation one finds oneself in. Teresa says the experience is like listening to two people at once. We cannot be wholly absorbed in either conversation. Her use of the term sleep of the faculties, sueño de las potencias, is troublesome, or at least it seems so, because she makes it so clear that the faculties actually function even better than before. Most of the confusion comes from Teresa's attempt to fit her personal experience into categories described in mystical theology texts she had read. It was not until it was focused on her description instead of her terminology that this third kind of prayer began to make sense. And so Teresa sees all the different experiences of prayer as reflecting the degree to which a person's intellect, memory, and will are united with God at a given time. One could also speak of the degree of absence of independent, separate, or autonomous feelings. She explains that in the previous stage of prayer and passive recollection, only the will is united with God in this way. The intellect and memory are not wholly taken over. In the present stage, the faculties are completely united with God, but not so absorbed that they cannot act. And in the stage to come, the prayer of union, all the faculties will be completely united with God. She then tries to describe what people actually experience in these times when the garden is watered by a stream or a spring. The gustos are now incomparably greater than in the prayer quiet. Their joy is unbearably sweet. During these moments, she says, people no longer desire satisfaction from their own senses or accomplishments, but neither are they completely content. More and more, they long simply to be with God. The ache of this yearning for God mixes with the delight of the gustos to create a glorious foolishness, a heavenly insanity. One does not know whether to speak or be silent, to laugh or to cry. Teresa calls this prayer a light and heavy cross. Light because it is so sweet, yet heavy because at times it is almost too much to bear. One may easily long for death at times like this, seeing it as the only way to satisfy one's yearning for God. But all one can do is abandon oneself completely into God's arms. These are very beautiful reflections from Teresa of Avila on the dark night of the soul, which is especially during a full moon. So with that, there's this tent that we are gathering in, Hecate's red tent. The red tent is a temple. It is some time when we have no time. Time to sit, be still, be with each other and with ourselves. A time out of time to step out and step in. This is a time of the Moon Mother. Moon Mother, in my dreams, the women are drumming. Their waters are rising, making prayers of their bodies. They dance as if swimming under the Moon Mother's spell. And this is Hecate's red tent. Hecate, Astarte. So, with this notes from the Iowa City Underground, shall we say we have been lost and now we are found. And in this way, in this space and in this place, there's been a little portion of amazing grace. So may blessings be with you one and all around this place. Peace on the journey.